Welcome to the Splash 2024 Black Diamond Advisory YouTube podcast. My name is Cameron Lackpour, and I have with me as my co-host
Celvin, Kattookaran.
And we're delighted to have our very special guest,
Jack Lacava.
So Jack, thank you so much for being our guest on this show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I'm a Product Enablement Manager at OneStream. Before that, I've been 4 years with the company doing training and moderating the community, the OneStream community website. And before that, I've been around the EPM, CPM world for about 15 years, Oracle, Hyperion, and all that.
Right,
so,
like a lot of us.
Yes. Yep. Originally, I'm effectively a web developer sort of thing. So I'm one of the geeks that ended up in the EPM world, effectively.
I'm glad you said geek.
Yes. So for our audience, geek is the right term. A nerd, I don't know where that came from, but that's the wrong one. Just giving you my unsolicited opinion on that.
Originally I'm Italian, but I live in the UK. I've been living there for 20 years now. So.
Is OneStream's headquarters in Manchester?
Basically, yes. The European HQ is effectively in Manchester. It's possibly a side effect of the historical location of the Hyperion Support Center, which was based there. So.
Yeah, because so many American companies are headquartered in London.
Yes.
Close to Manchester, that's the north, right?
Yes, Manchester is about, by train, is about 2 hours from London.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, most of the actual customers are based in London, which is the big finance center.
Yep, the big smoke, right? Yeah. So you do one community, and Celvin, you won an award last year. Was it only last year? Yeah. For being like one of the top contributors?
I think it was one before that.
Or maybe it was one before. Or was it really? I don't know. After a while, all the conferences just sort of blend.
That's interesting. I met Jack through one community. Yeah, that's how we virtually met. And Jack, tell us something about the one community, because I'm so passionate about that one. So tell us, our audience, about what one community is.
Yeah, the one community website has been around for a few years, and it's a place where people from the community can meet effectively and talk and collaborate on some things. We have both areas dedicated to partners and public forums, and we have a blog, and we have release announcements, and we have other podcasts. And I've looked after the forums for about a year and a half and published quite a few blogs. And it's been fun. It's been fun because it's a continuous source of puzzles and issues from people asking for help, and it actually sent me in many directions that were actually pretty fun, like figuring out this or that component, people trying to do weird stuff. So I enjoyed it.
Have you met, other than meeting Celvin, have you met people from one community here at the conference?
Not big names, but people come up and say, thank you. I've read so many of your posts, and
that's great.
Things, and it's always very satisfying.
Excellent. You said that you have your own personal podcast. Can you talk? This is not exactly work related, but I mean, this is all about knowing people. What is this podcast about?
About 2 years ago, we did a relatively short series of podcast episodes with a friend, and basically talking about the experience of Italians abroad. Because one day I realized that a lot of people I knew ended up moving from Italy, and so we knew people in Argentina, in the US, in France, in the UK, in Spain. So we had a short series where we interviewed all these friends effectively and asked them about their experience, how they found the country. And so it's called altrovecast.it.
I think I just heard that it was in Italian.
Yes. Unfortunately.
So for our Italian speakers, I mean, this is going to be perfect. For the rest of us, it might be somewhat difficult to get the gist of it.
Sorry for that.
Who does the one community now? Like you said, you moved into product enablement.
Yes. At the moment, it's sort of, there's somebody doing the bare minimum. We don't have yet a person that interacts possibly as much as I did. But we are in the process of defining who's next
Jack
administrator. Will be, and people say, we should be able to clone you somehow. we really need to be. It's difficult to find. I know my profile has always been a bit hybrid because I do a bit of everything. I always like to do a bit of everything, and I know this is not incredibly common, but I'm sure
You did an amazing job there, because like remember getting personal pings from you. Like if someone posts something that I know, you just say, hey, can you jump in and just chime in about this? So that was an excellent thing, because you know who people can do some of the things. So you personally knew those. It was a wonderful job.
yeah, I tried to foster the community as much as I could, and I also had some ideas that eventually didn't manage to do, but hopefully in the future there are some things coming through. I know that there is a big upgrade coming in the next couple of years as well, so things are going to evolve. And yeah, people seem happy with One Community website overall, so it seems like we made a little bit of a difference, which is always good.
Is it much the same people? Is there a small subset of customers and consultants that use it, or is it more broad?
It is strange because it goes in periods, and you can see some guys really engage with the site for like 2-3 months, and for 2-3 months you kind of see the same usernames popping up and answering all the questions and getting very engaged, and then maybe they disappear, but then there's another group that comes up, and so it's another 2-3 guys that come up, and so this seems to have sort of worked over the period I looked after it very well, with relatively little input from me. So it's getting bigger for sure.
Uh-huh.
We get more and more posts every
I did
year.
disappear.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say.
a big time
Let's see,
if you're really going to be active. I did that in the past in the Oracle world, and it can take a long time.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to come back. I did disappear
Please do.
for a while.
What difference do you think One Community has made? How has the OneStream world? I won't use the word community because it gets a little repetitive. What has its impact been?
Well, from one side, I think it makes people less lonely in terms of relating with the product, because we know documentation is never exhaustive. There's always something that is not clear, and yes, we have resources like Navigator and the courses, the classes, but sometimes you just have to solve a problem, or you just want to figure something out, and it can feel a bit lonely if you don't know.
Especially if
where to
you're
go.
an admin, right?
Yeah,
No
exactly.
one else
Power
in your company.
users, exactly.
Yep.
So having a place where people can go and just throw, some questions out, or even just brainstorm something. I was thinking of doing this. What do you think? I think it made a difference. People seem to appreciate that. And personally, also, I use the blog to sort of write down things that people kept asking me in training classes or in conferences about features that were a bit more obscure, or a bit more complicated. So I could write a blog and refer people to it. Like say, for example, we've done 2-parters on behavior parameters, which I thought was actually very good, because it's one of those things that in documentation is not very clear. You have to see it in practice.
Yeah.
And with those 2 posts, I think we laid out exactly how they work, and people seem to appreciate
That's wonderful, because not many people know that can take parameters.
Exactly. So making it dynamic and so on. So yeah, I enjoyed my time a lot. I'll still be around in one way or the other, even though I'm not officially in charge, but answering questions can be fun.
So you also did classes.
Yes.
Yes.
I've been running since I joined OneStream. I've been running classes, which was a bit of a change of career for me, because originally I was a consultant before that for about 8 years. But I was a bit tired of being the guy in the dark room, sort of figuring stuff out with, a few interactions with others, and then maybe somebody else gets gets recognized for the effort you made. So I wanted to do something a bit more interactive, a bit, in contact with the public, and it's been great. It's been nice. Gave me the chance to learn OneStream properly, because
Now you see all aspects of it, don't you?
yes,
In your role today,
exactly.
or your role a short while ago, I guess.
So how different is the One Community moderation from what you do now, the product enablement?
Basically, I'm gonna do some of the same things that I was gonna do for the community, but with more of an internal bent, in the sense that we keep pumping all these features out, and even the organization sometimes struggles to keep up with it. And even internally, sometimes we have issues with people not knowing exactly how this new feature works. So my first focus is going to be on that, so making sure that the chain of transmission of knowledge internally is a bit smoother. well, I'm gonna start at the moment. I'm working mostly on the workspace dynamic dashboard side of thing, which is it's been around now for 12 months. No, and not many people use it, but it's there. It works, and there are cases, and a lot of this stuff eventually after we sort of bang it into shape, we'll probably also see an external release at some point, but we're still working on that.
The pace of innovation could be kind of exhausting,
Yes.
right? So many new things come out, and you have to decide which ones am I going to focus on.
That's a struggle we have too in our organization.
Yes, I think everyone does.
Yes.
I would have thought, or I did think that OneStream would have slowed down, but that is not the case at all.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Absolutely. They're furious about pushing out new features and making everyone's life easier. But yes, it can be a challenge sometimes to leverage all these things. Now I'm very excited about the new hybrid cube services.
everyone is. Yes.
It's just,
glad you said that.
Yeah, it looks amazing, but obviously then we will have to look at the details of how to make
does
it
it actually
work, and make sure people know how to use them. So
Yeah. The good practices part of it's really important. It's one thing to say I can make it do whatever, but is it actually a good idea?
yes, exactly, best practices. And we've seen the same with things like hybrid scenarios, which great feature. For what they do, they replace a lot of hacky sort of code that people had in scenario formulas. But it can be a struggle for a lot of consultants to actually learn how to implement them properly and where they make sense and where they don't make sense. So yeah, we know that there's always a challenge for that sort of thing. But
I'm glad that you said that. I've heard, and then there are some examples in the documentation saying, okay, large pivot, this many rows is what that supports. The regular pivot, this many rows is what that support. So usually people come up with say, okay, these new features are there. What's the limit? So is that something you guys are going to do to say, okay, this is probably the better, sensible
that
limit?
we try to. It's always difficult because sometimes we are not aware of the limits in the sense that we test with high numbers, everything works, so we say, okay, it works all the time, right? And then it goes in the field, and maybe after some time we actually figure out, okay, we have some thresholds that maybe we shouldn't cross. So we try to refine the guidelines, best practices, like on things like data unit density, for example. We used to say over half a million records in a data unit is too much and you should break it up, and now we're a bit more sophisticated about it, and they say, okay, from 250 to 750 more or less is all right. If it goes over, you should probably take action. If it goes over 1 million, absolutely take action. So it's just obviously it's a matter of refining things. Also, technology evolves, so some of these limits kind of.
The limits changing as the versions go on? I've been asked a couple of questions about, is version 8 really, really worth it?
Yes, I mean, version 8 is definitely worth it, and on some things, it's super fast. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what
fast.
we heard.
It's because of advances in the .NET runtime largely, and obviously some tweaks we've also done. The performance is really good, and it's definitely worth the upgrade. We know that it's not necessarily an easy task to upgrade because you might have to tweak some rules and some integrations might have to be rethought. But definitely, yeah, I would recommend the upgrades to everyone because the new features are definitely worth it, and yeah, the speed increase is good. So
Speed is always good.
yes, exactly.
So you were on the expo floor. You were doing demos and pods. Did you have a different role?
No, I mostly I've been supporting guys in terms of being at the booths like Ask the Expert and helping people, that sort of thing. And then on the first day, I've run the workshops on
On Monday. Gotcha,
on
classes.
Monday, introduction to member formulas and strategies for complex calculations. Which was great fun. People really liked it. We had packed rooms everywhere, so it's been interesting.
On the expo floor, which one of the OneStream pods had the biggest crowd? We've missed a lot of the conference because we're in this room doing these.
I
interviews.
reckon the AI hub is
The big
the
pod.
busiest. Those guys keep demoing. To be honest, we also have the demo area for the other features as well. And those have also been fairly busy. People are interested in Genesis, for example, in the dashboarding framework, which is quite good. and some of the new marketplace solutions. But yeah, definitely the AI hub has been, I think it's been the talk of the conference in many ways, because the stuff they announced is really good. It goes beyond the hype in many ways, and giving us practical applications of these technologies, which is good.
Excellent. So we always ask our OneStream guests, what is their guess about where OneStream will be in a year, and we won't go further than 3 years, because I think no one could actually accurately predict.
Yeah, I can only see things getting bigger and bigger, which is a challenge in many ways. Obviously, it challenges us internally to keep all the processes running, but the excitement is out there. A lot of customers seem incredibly happy with the product, so they keep asking us to do more and more. I see the sort of the current trajectory continuing for quite a long time, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. I can see maybe some of the things that today we do in code, I expect we won't do them in code.
Oh, interesting. I'd say one of the big barriers for people that came from the Oracle space is this is a programmer's tool. A lot of it is a programmer's tool. I should be.
Yeah, the idea is to be as flexible as possible, and some of that flexibility inevitably comes with having to do things in code.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the focus is always making things possible. So we're trying very hard to sort of not force people to write code if they don't want to. So we as we've seen with even with things like Genesis, we try to make things simpler and more accessible for non-geeks effectively to access all the features, and provide help them help the office of the CFO and take finance further, to be on message.
Excellent. To be on message. All right. Well, thank you so much for being our guests. You've been fantastic.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.